All right, it's Monday, so let's see if we can crack another coding challenge under 40 minutes. This stream is for entertainment purposes only. Let me quickly check that everything is up and running. Seems like that. All right, so let's see what we've got today. Another hard problem or not? Again, it's Monday, so I hope it will be something easy one, but chances are slim. And yeah, it's hard. No way. Oh my god. All right. Given a string s, return true if it is possible to split the string into three non-empty palindromic substrings. Okay, otherwise return false. I got it. Interesting. So yeah, the first example, A, B, C, B, D, D. So it should be exactly 3, and you might go as low as 1 letter, right? S consists only of lowercase English letters. S length is from 3 to 2000. So obviously, if the simplest case, S length equals 3, return true. True, otherwise return false unless we figure out how to solve this problem. Obviously, if it's 3, the letter by itself is palindrome, right? If there are 2 letters, then they should be equal to each other. The 3 letters, then there might be cases. Again, I see the simple way of kind of going, exhaustive depth first search or breadth first search, which of course won't pass the complexity of the test. So let's see if we can figure out some sort of label correction or something like that, like sort of dynamic programming, whatever, first before going into hints and stuff like that. So, but yeah, let's switch to the whiteboard. Oops, something fun was there. All right, so we have this case, right? A, B, C, B, D, D. So if we just revert the string, it will be D, D, right? B, C, B, A. So what does it tell us? Can you just revert it and slide one against another one to see if there are 2 cases when so definitely the last one is the 2 letters, right? So we should not slide or than that. So we sort of starting doing like this. A B, C B, D D, and we go this direction, right? So obviously this is not palindrome, so we do not consider this case. Yeah, it doesn't look like a good approach. Although it's clear to me that there is some patterns, right? So we can check, oh, once we hit A here, right, we will see that this one is equal to this one, and this are palindrome, so we need to check is this. So can we quickly check the palindrome? So it's sort of a sliding window slash something. So it's interesting why 3, not 4, not 5, not n, but 3. Is there anything special about 3? So the 3 implies that once we find the medium palindrome, right, the one in the middle, then maybe it will be easier to find left or right. Or maybe it can be done in constant time for the left and right. But even this algorithm is technically quadratic because we don't do it wise enough. Curious though if there's something there. Okay, let's switch to the main screen because my brain doesn't work today, so I wonder what, first of all, what's the topic is. Dynamic programming. Okay, it was quite obvious. This is a dynamic programming based approach. It's not easy to find. How would we split it on small problems and update it instantly? All right, so so now this is dynamic programming, all right? Preprocess checking palindromes in O1. Note that one string is a prefix and another one is a suffix. You can try brute force the rest. Obviously. So that's why it's 3 exactly, right? So the one in the middle So what are the similar questions? So the hints are not like palindrome, 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 medium, hard, hard, hard. And this is 4 even. So it's even harder than those before. Man. Alright, so this suggestion is pre-process them to solve in constant time, and this is dynamic programming. And we also should pay attention again that this is the, as I said, the medium element, and basically the rest two suffix, prefix, and you can brute force something in the middle. Well, we definitely know that if the first element is 1 and the last element is 1, then both suffix and prefix are palindromes, right? And then whatever is in the middle may or may not be a palindrome. So, pre-process palindromes to check them in O1. Like if you reverse the string and chop it on multiple pieces such that you can quickly check what's the middle palindrome is, what the suffixes are. Still don't see it. This is unfortunately not an easy one. I mean, obviously the exhaustive search is a solution. You start with some suffix and some prefix, you go one way, then you move, then you shift, let's say, suffix one way or prefix another way, and do similarly search, and you keep continuing until you find or find nothing, right? The problem is so what about finding suffixes and prefixes, right? All right, let's try something. So, what if let's see, what if it's string s array of size s suffix s length -2 prefix s length -2. So why is -2? Technically it depends, right? So if I have suffix of one element, then the rest can be everything unless the s-2 size, right? S length -2 size for the suffix, and vice versa. So what I'm gonna try is for every element, right? So So let's see. So we first slide reverse string and regular string like this until s minus 2, right? And well, s length can be 2000, so how bad it can be to check hash code of two strings, I'm not sure. But it can be bad, yeah. So not sure if we can do something like this, like an empty one. Maybe we can, maybe we cannot. Alright, so here we go. Let's start with int I equals 0, I less than s, okay, we're done. S length minus 2 plus plus, right? So let's see. So we need check the first element with the last element of the reverse string, right? Should we just reverse it? It's linear time anyway. Okay, string reverse s, or let's say s air begin s air end, something like that, or maybe it's just the reverse. Reverse string cpp. I think there is a C reverse or something like this. Ah. Alright. We can reverse the s, so we can say reverse equals s, right, and then, or let's call it rs, and then reverse rs begin, rs end. Reverse string. All right, so and obviously we can say that prefix 0, right, is plus equal whatever we have at s. So prefix is 0, right, for the 0 element, and suffix similarly. Suffix at 0 is plus equal s length minus 2. No, s length minus 1. Kind of the last element there. All right. I think we'll move it here, right? So So but do we need to compute prefixes and suffixes, right? Or do we want to start with the medium one? So what I want to check, so it now starts with 1, right? So what I want to check, let's say here, if S, let's say prefix I minus 1, right, plus Si, all right, equals to no, it's not that straightforward. Ooh, 20 minutes already passed. Still nothing. So let me go to the whiteboard here again. So we have these two things, right? And we're moving these things around like this. For suffix, for prefix, and vice versa, right? Like this for suffix. All right, so let's just see that if it will be a slow one. If S substring I zero I minus 0 to get the length of the elements, how much do we need, equals to Rs. Between 0I, right? Then it's not I, it's I, wait a second, it's not from 0, it's still I in terms of the length, but the beginning is so it's from the end. So it's s length minus 1 is the last element minus I, right? And I in terms of the length. Okay, I see. So then we say if this is the case, then we say that prefix of I equals s substring. All right. So now same way, but we start. It's basically changing things around, right? Now we start with reverse string from 0 to I, right? And I starts with 1, right? So from, do we need it from, yeah, from 0. Yeah, I think then we don't need to do anything here because we already have it. Equals s substring, s length or s length, it doesn't really matter. Now it's s substring starting from the last element minus I, or no? No, we always start with the last, yeah, the last element minus I and I element. So I plus minus I will always end at the last element. Okay, makes sense. So in this case, we say suffix. All right. Suffix I, and again, this one in terms of it, this is quadratic, unfortunately, so far. And I know that we do a lot of basically unnecessary computations because we are comparing character by character over and over and over and over again, and it might be speeded up, but let's see if we can crack the algorithm at least. I'm not saying make it optimal. Even quadratic complexity so far fine with me. This is linear. So space is what? Technically is quadratic, right? In space or n square. So algorithms are not efficient here, but whatever. So once we have suffixes and prefixes, what do we do with that? Well, now we fix suffix, right? And then we get the length, and we reverse that length, and then we check with the reverse if it's matches and the last element is also matches, right? Then okay, so now let's see. Now we again go with I again till -2, right? So we say if prefix I empty, so not empty. So if prefix is not empty, if prefix is palindrome, we go again quadratic, right? Because we need to check all of the all of the length minus 1 from this guy, right? We go j, now it's I plus 1. Obviously should we go with I0? Let's go with I0, right? It's I plus 1. This is the beginning of string until s length minus 1. So will I check the all prefixes? So if it's excluding 2 prefixes, let's say in this case, this is what the length is 6 in example 1. So length minus 2 will be 4. So let's say we start with 0 to 4. Okay, this is the largest number prefix can get. Okay, yeah, so far makes sense. All right, so we have this j, right, which is less than length, and j plus plus. And so what do we do? Right, so so it's even cubic in this sense. Because we start with j now, right, and we know the suffix, if it's palindrome or not, for the given length. No. We know the fixed length. We know that we begin with I plus 1, right? So let's see. So basically, j is what? Is the suffix, right? Location of the suffix, and it starts from j from I plus 2 till s length, right? Check suffixes. And because we know right, so all right, so if suffix, is it j now, right? So I corresponds how many elements from the end, right? And j is from the beginning. So it should be, so if j is last element, right? Let's say 6th element, or which will be 5 if we start numbering from 0. If we start numbering from 0, it's 5. So but for me it's 1 element, so I should just say s length minus j. That's what I'm doing, right? So j5, meaning that we take the last only element. Alright, so from 6 minus 5 is 0. So we take this 1 and say empty again. Empty not. Alright. suffix is palindrome. Then all we need to do is to check if middle is palindrome. So all we do is this: if s substring that starts from I, right, is oh damn, these indices are killing me. Starts not from I is where the prefix is, right? If it's 0, then we should start from I plus 1. Now what's the length? Is it just j minus I? That's where we start from 1, and if j is 2, the second one, so j minus I is 2, but we need 1, so we need to say j minus I minus 1. Right? Because j is the first element of the suffix. We're not taking into account. Equals to rs substring, and this is the headache because now I need to convert and shift prefixes. So now the j there is technically the role of plays role of I, right? So let me see. Let's say my I is 0 and j, what I'm checking is, let's say 2, right? No, sorry, not 2. 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth element, which means fifth element if we numbering it from 1, not from 0. Alright, so, and of course you don't see what do I code, right? Because all you see is my stupid whiteboard. So what I'm checking here now, that substring should it be length minus j minus 1, so it will be the fourth element here becomes second, no, the first element if it's 0, right? Alright, so it should be something like s length, but now from j, this is how we make it, let's say 1, and the length, I guess the length is the same, j minus I minus 1, right? So if I is 0 and j is 4, the difference is 4, and we need 3 elements in between, right? Correct. If this is the case, then we return true. Otherwise, we return 0. And let's also, because I already see the potential issues here, prefix equal to prefix I suffix equal to what suffix? Middle is alright, I'm ready to suffer and figure out that I'm dumb. So this is also quadratic. So far we came up with quadratic. Given that is 2000, maybe it's okay, but I'm not sure. Oh man, this is embarrassing. We can go with vector, actually, it's fine. Vector of string, there's always a dumb idea to use arrays in most cases. Vector of string, so all we say is this, right? S-length -2, and the default value is this. It's even cleaner, in my opinion. And then it supports the same access stuff. Complexity right now. So it's basically an empty string. Well, technically it's not n squared, it's cubed, because when you check equality here, right, you take substrings and then compare it. It's basically element by element. This, I guess, can be speeded up, but let's see if at least we pass some tests. This is hard problem. It's unlikely you can solve it under 40 minutes optimally. It just says false. Instead of true, it doesn't print anything. Alright, let's see if there's something interesting here. Prefix is substring 0. I. So let's see if we at least can debug it in time. So we kind of, okay, it's 40 minutes past, so let's see. Prefix A, suffix D. First of all, this most likely wrong, because we should go up to A, B, C, D. Right, so let's include, oops. If we start with 1, then we'll go up to -1. Then let's check what's the reverse. It says B, so it really doesn't start with wherever it should start. Then it should be like this, I guess. My feeling. Is this correct? Yeah, those indices, I mean, they will drive you nuts. Alright, so this is something I would imagine the same should go here. And let's see if now we can print something here. Run the code. Nope. Still no. Suffix, it's also I, and it's a substring. Blah, blah. Prefix A and suffix 1 and suffix 2. All right, so this thing works, so we file that. Now, why the heck we don't see this? Okay, let me try to print this one. Okay, I think the issue is with this thing, using this assembler here. Prefix I, all right, and then suffix. Suffix is what? Is suffix, or we can start directly. So it's substring that starts with J, right, and its length is s length minus J. I guess should be like this. Let's see. No, nothing. Interesting. Anyway, so we definitely prefix 1. This is weird. All of them are empty, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because prefix I minus 1 is this, and suffix I minus 1 is this. So why the heck prefix I is always empty? This is not very clear to me. So we start with I, right? Damn, I don't see it. I mean, it's just the vector, right? We need it. Okay, if it's empty, it means it's there's no palindrome there. Oh man, this way, of course it won't work. We do not assign anything, this is the empty array. Oh my goodness. And now we have something overflow. So we said prefix A, suffix what, CBDD, correct, CBDD suffix, but most likely we hit this one, right? So CBDD means J equals 2, which is I guess we hit something here. So J equals 2 as length equals 6, so we say suffix 4. Okay. We should have 4. Nope. -1, I guess, right? As length -1. Because suffix of 4, it technically 0, 1, 2, 3, third element, right? Let me see one more time. I guess we can cancel out those so we don't really bring something that is not needed. So we make sure that we can, okay, prefix A, suffix AB, which is wrong. There is no way it can be AB in this example. If middle is BCB, it should be DD. So why is that? Suffix S length -1 minus J. So when middle is 3, it means that J is equal to 4, right? Which is third element, I guess. Then we say, okay, okay, let me do it like this. It's just, this is debugging process, which otherwise a little bit hard to debug just from your head, but whatever. Let's see, this is whatever is here, so let's figure it out what's wrong. Seems like the middle element is correct. The only thing which is missing is the way how we access the suffix. Prefix 0, suffix 1 is a B. Suffix 1 is not a B. What are you talking about? Oh, this is wrong. This should be RS. That's why. Right, so now let's see. And it says false, right? So let's add the last element of the puzzle here. And then we really can, basically I want this one more time here and say reverse middle, right? And what do I compare it to? This thing. Substring this, run the code, and let's see why reverse substring is wrong. Because it's shifted by one element to the right. So one minus J. So the number, the length is correct. It's J minus I minus 1, right? It's just the beginning of the element. Seems like... Oh, by one, so we don't need to subtract 1, I guess. Stuff like this, right? Run the code. Ermido, BCB, BCB, and DD. Ah, yeah, we did it here, and we also need to repeat it here. So that's what. Plus j minus 1, and then all right, let's see how many tests we can pass. Obviously, we won't pass all of the tests, especially the performance one. Yeah, performance failed because it's technically NQ if you take into account that computing this length. But at least, hey, we did it in polynomial time. It's not exponential complexity. So let's see. Right, 81 out of 87. We did it in time. We used hints. So we used hints to moderate extent. Nothing super, helpful was there. Under 40 minutes we came up with algorithm itself. It took us a little bit longer to debug, but assuming during the interview somebody will do this debugging process. Basically, you came up with polynomial algorithm. Yes, not the best one. It's n cube technically if you take into account 3 and 3 here. If you take into account this comparison, right? Ah, no, it's n2 here, but n cube here because we have 2 cycles now, and we do this one, which is unfortunate. I guess if we somehow pre-compute these things too, then we can do it faster, but whatever. So we almost cracked it. My feeling is that this way can be somehow. I don't think you need to take substring. I think we can compute prefix to suffix, right? Then for these guys, we can also have, yeah, it can be different length in different places. I had that, but hey, who knows? Well, in this case, it will be vector of string. Like if you have the prefix beginning and then suffix, right? Then you can compute something in the middle, so it's quadratic, but then it will be cube anyway. Yeah, it's 7 3 in this case. Whatever. So we did something, and obviously it might be, I guess, sort of faster in square time. Yeah, it can be n2, but we did it in nq. Alright, whatever. I don't have mental energy to go through this right now. Not when all of the time hard problems are going one by one every day. Okay, let's switch to the white scene, and so it's 0 0 and this is what, 87 and 81. All right, see you next time.